My friend just ran the Boston Marathon, and the way he went about doing it is one of the best demonstrations of something I have been wanting to talk about for a very long time. So, let me tell you the story. My friend was supposed to be in Massachusetts for his job, and it happened to be exactly when the Boston Marathon was happening. And he decided at the last minute that he was going to run the Boston Marathon. Now, you need to understand something about this decision. Experienced runners, they train for a marathon for at least 12 weeks in advance, 12 weeks minimum. In the Boston Marathon, you have to qualify for it too. My friend had just come back from a family vacation. He was not training. He had not been training. In fact, in all the conversations that I had with him, I never once heard him say that he was training for the Boston Marathon. And yet, he decided that he was going to run the Boston Marathon. Now, I want to be honest with you. In the back of my mind, when he said that, I had my doubts. But I had encouraged him before to train for the Boston Marathon because he'd done Tokyo, London, other places. And he would always say it is one of the toughest marathon. He did not feel like he was ready for it. But when he told me that he was going to do it this time, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, well, you already registered for it, so you are going to be at the starting line. One way or the other, you might as well cross the finish line because I wanted to be the supportive friend. And there was also no doubt in my mind that he will cross the finish line. So I told him, I said, no doubt you will cross the finish line because you already registered for it. He set himself a goal to cross also the finish line by 6 p.m. Not a time goal. It wasn't a pace goal. Just finish by 6 p.m. And guess what? He did. He ran that marathon. He crossed that finish line actually 2 hours before his goal time. And he became one of the people who has run the 6 major cities marathon. So later, I asked him, how crazy is it to decide that you are going to run it and then actually go run it? How do you just get up and decide to do that? He said, I know I did not train for it. And then I said to him, I know, because you've always avoided this one marathon. And he said, you know what? I decided I do not do things the way that everybody else does them. I do my own thing. And I love that. I love that he said that. He ran that marathon 100% on his own terms. No prescribed training plans, no 12-week program, no coach telling him exactly what to do and when to do it. He just decided. Speaking of coaches and speaking of the fact that he decided to run for it, as I said earlier, you have to qualify for it. So clearly he qualified for it. So he is an experienced marathon runner. He's run in Tokyo, in Berlin. He's done the New York. He's done a lot. He's a runner. This is someone who's always running. But for every single marathon he's going to do, he always tells me that he's training. And speaking of training, I remember when he was doing the Tokyo Marathon, he, for the first time, hired a trainer. it did not go well. And the trainer gave him a program where he was pushing himself too hard. And he ended up injuring himself before doing the Tokyo Marathon. But he ran that marathon with an injury, and he had to rest for a couple of months after that to care for that injury. And I am mentioning that to put things in context. Now, here's why I'm telling you this story, because in the online business world, there is a very loud message that sounds a lot like the marathon training world. Listen to the experts, follow their framework, join their mastermind, do it the way that they did it, do it the way that they train their six-figure clients to do it, because they are successful and they probably coached other people to do the same. And those people were successful too. So this must be the way. This must be the only path. And if you cannot follow the exact path, if you cannot afford to join that mastermind, if you cannot afford to work one-on-one with that coach, if you cannot follow the specific framework, if you cannot take the exact steps, then you cannot do it. So you get discouraged. You stop believing in yourself. You start doubting. And you never take that first step. You never start. And I want to tell you, that is a lie. There is more than one path to make it to Rome. And like my mom always says, and this isn't actually saying, tout chemin mène à Rome, as the French say. All roads lead to Rome. The expert's path is just one path. The coach's framework, the business coach framework, is one path. But it is not the only path. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you stop waiting for conditions that were never the requirement. And I want to be honest with you, because I have been guilty of this myself. I'm going to confess that. I've been guilty of thinking that in order for me to succeed in a specific thing, it has to be done the specific way, because someone I follow does it that way, or someone that I bought a course from does it that way, and they were successful doing it that way. And because of that thinking, I stopped myself from exploring alternatives. And I even don't trust my own instincts sometimes. And I solidify in my mind that this is the way. And I don't even make room for more creativity, for my own creativity. I discard my own ideas before they even have a chance. And here's what I want you to think about instead. My friend did not follow the prescribed training plan, and he still crossed the finish line 2 hours ahead of his own goal. He did not do it the way that experienced runners do it, although he's an experienced runner himself. He did it his way, and it worked. Now, I'm not saying that training does not help. I am also not saying that expert guidance, it has absolutely no value. It does. It does have value. But what I am saying is that the absence of the prescribed path is not the same as the absence of a path. Your path exists. It may not look like the one that the expert outlined in their course, in their mastermind. It may not follow the framework that made someone else successful, but it is still a path. And it can still get you to the finish line. The most important thing my friend did was not train for 12 weeks. The most important thing he did was show up at the starting line on April 2026 and decided that he was going to cross the finish line. That's it. He made the decision and then he acted on it without waiting for everything to be perfect first. So here is what I want to ask you today. I want you to think, what have you been telling yourself that you cannot do because you do not have the prescribed path? Because you cannot afford to hire a specific coach to work one-on-one with them, because you have not followed the exact framework, because you have not trained for 12 weeks, because you cannot afford to join a mastermind for a year to work with someone. What if your version of the path is the one that actually works for you? My friend did not run the Boston Marathon the way that the expert says you are supposed to run it. He ran it his way, and he crossed the finish line 2 hours ahead of his set schedule for himself. Listen, you already registered for your race. You're going to be at the starting line one way or the other. So you might as well cross the finish line, right? So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Webley, and I want you to drop a comment below and tell me, what finish line have you been waiting for the perfect conditions to cross? I want to read every single one of your answers and hit subscribe. And with that, I will see you in the next video.